Alright, so this is the soldering station I ordered. It's an IU-968, which I'm probably murdering their pronunciation, but it's Chinese, and I don't know anything about Chinese. If it was Japanese, I could figure it out, but it's not, so... I got it from a company in Massachusetts, Foxborough, Massachusetts, off of eBay. Their shipping was amazing. It got here far before the other stuff I ordered at the same time. And so far I'm extremely satisfied with it. Because I'm a sucker for details, I'm going to go through the features of it real quick. And also because when I was researching, trying to find a decent soldering station, I couldn't find many details on really any of them. They're not very widely documented, it seems. Anything I read on this one, though, was... I only heard good things about it, so it was a great price, and it's very full-featured, so I'll take you guys through that real quick. This is actually a 3-in-1 unit. It's a soldering iron, smoke absorber, and a hot air gun all in one, each with individual switches. The soldering iron is removable. It plugs into the main unit like all the good stations do, with, of course, thermally balanced tips, and it constantly monitors the temperature and all that stuff that you always hear about. It goes up to 896 degrees Fahrenheit and 480 degrees Celsius. And attached to it is the, you see this pipe at the top, it's the smoke absorber, because even though we all love the smell of solder, it does contain lead, which, as most other things are known to the state of California to cause cancer. So that actually works pretty well. That sucks the smoke right up as you're soldering. You can use it or not use it. The soldering iron itself is, I'm very happy with it, and it comes with a tip that is small enough to accommodate probably everything I'll ever need to use it for. Although if it's not, it's obviously completely replaceable by unscrewing this and doing a bunch of stuff. And there are plenty of tips available online. And I think it's comfortable to hold. Some people have complained that because it lacks a rubber cushion, it can be strenuous after an hour or so, but I think it's comfortable. I haven't noticed any problem with it. It comes with a stand for the soldering iron, which also functions as a holder for the solder spool. This is 1.1 pounds of solder that I got from Jamco today, and feeds out through here, so that's pretty convenient. And comes with this sponge to clean your tip every once in a while, which is really thin, but you know, it works. I might replace it with something thicker later, but unlike a lot of other stations I've seen, this actually holds the soldering iron in place quite well. It goes in and fits to where even if you tug on it, it won't come out unless you really go like that, because it fits right on this ring here. So because of that, I had to, as you can see, I had to mount it to this board and put this on top of it, which is quite heavy, to keep everything weighed down so that I could get the soldering iron out with one hand and this wouldn't slide all over the place. You've probably also noticed this pole that I've mounted to the board that comes up to this, which is the hot air iron. And I have this mounted on it. This came with the unit and holds the hot air iron in place with this little ridge right here that slides into that gap. So it holds it quite well as long as it's holding it vertically like this. So it won't slip out unless you want it to come out. It doesn't really function as anything but a paperweight, which it wouldn't work very well as a paperweight either because it's light, with a bracket on the back. So I chose to mount to this pole so that it would, if I needed to set it aside but didn't want to turn it off for a few seconds, I don't recommend leaving it on for more than 10 or 15 seconds if you're not actually using it, because it can get really, really hot, up to 480 degrees Celsius. I have it pointed at the ceiling because if I point it anywhere else, you know, basically I could set something on fire. And I might not want to have it next to my manga, but I'll move that later. Right now, it's very nice pointing at the ceiling. I'm happy with that. I just threw this thing together in a day. My old soldering iron took probably 15 minutes to heat up completely, and this one probably takes 30 seconds or so to heat up completely from a cold start. So I'm really happy with that. It's quite surprising. This light right here will start blinking once it's heated up. I'll leave that on so you can actually see how long it takes. And the hot air iron takes probably, well, depending on what temperature you have it set to, obviously, for both of them. This is the thermostat for the soldering iron, and this is a digital thermostat for the hot air iron, which starts out at 90 degrees Celsius. You can see it heats up quite fast, and by default I have it set to the highest right now for demonstrative purposes. You can see how quick it heats up. This is the set temperature right here, and this is the actual temperature. So you can see that it's almost already at the proper temperature. It's really fast. And this is the airflow adjuster here. This is the gauge right here. It uses a ball bearing in a wind tube, essentially, to show how much airflow is going through it. Soldering iron's heated up, and that's putting out a lot of heat right now, so I'm going to turn that off, but that works well. When you turn it off, if it turned off the pump completely, it would overheat, and also it's dangerous. It would take a while to cool down, so when you turn it off, it keeps the air pump running so that it can cool off quicker, and so that people know it's on and it's still hot. But of course the heater turns off, so this will shut off as soon as this reaches 90 degrees Celsius, which is barely warm to the touch. Because this does get so hot so quickly and can push out a lot of air, it uses a lot of power. It's a 550 watt heater, so it actually causes my lights to flicker a little bit when it's on its high setting. It's not too bad, and I shouldn't really need to use it on its high setting very often. The temperature can be adjusted with these, just a digital thing, and you can see it comes back down to 90 degrees. The reset button just turns the unit off, scrolls the product name, sets the temperature back to 90 degrees, and turns this on, obviously, if it was still on. I don't know exactly what serious problems mean. I don't know if it like creates a black hole or what, but I read that this is very important to do, and I made sure I did it as soon as I got the station. So if you decide to purchase a station, I guess please make sure you do this, otherwise, I don't know, end of the world or something.